Hi, welcome to Frugal. My name is Lara, and this is a lifestyle channel all about living a frugal yet also a full life. So I hope that you're all well. I hope you're all keeping safe if you're in areas with high storms like here. You may hear the wind whistling through the windows at different points during this video, potentially. So just to warn you, I'm just keeping nice and cozy in my Christmas present last year. Much appreciated gift. And I'm still in recovery from my broken arm, as you can see. It's a long process, and it's a painful process and a very tiring process, which might be why I'm feeling the cold a lot more today. So I thought I would just keep snug as a bug in a space themed rug, wearable rug. And happy Thrifty Tuesday also. And thank you very much for watching. So the theme for today is to have a chat about some thrifty, fun, free, super frugal activities. These are things that I'm going to be doing during my no spend year, and just general lifestyle ways that I tend to be frugal in how I approach things. These are things that I enjoy doing in my free time anyway, but these are definitely things that I'll make more time for this year, rather than ending up being busy doing things that actually cost money, that aren't necessarily activities that I'd even rather be doing. The things that I've got here are things that I love to do in my free time, and that I'm going to really welcome spending my free time enjoying, guilt-free, because indulging in these things doesn't cost a penny. And there are things that during this no spend year that I'll be quite happy to let go of, activities that I'll be happy to let go of that would have cost money. And it's actually going to create space for things that I love that cost nothing. So looking forward to sharing some of these ideas and tips, or all of these ideas and tips with you. And hopefully some of these things may resonate and may spark some interest in exploring some other options in your life that could be free, fun, frugal activities. So here goes. So I'll just hold it to show you for a wee minute, and maybe what I'll do is, while we're chatting, maybe I can come off this mode and go on to actually holding the camera above the poster. I'll start by chatting and just giving a wee brief summary of what I've got here. So the first section, it's all to do with craft activities that I'm looking forward to embracing during this no spend year. So there's lots of different things. I'll give some examples. So for example, now these, I should explain as well that I have a traffic light system. The reason being is red are things that I can do right now with the broken arm. Amber are things that once my broken arm situation's resolved and I've got a functional arm again, because I can only do very, very minimal things at the moment with my arm. Hopefully over the days things will start to build up quite quickly, but I don't have the capacity to do the things in amber until my arm's better. So once I have a working arm again, I'll be able to do the orange things. And then the green are activities that I'll be able to enjoy once I'm able to fulfill part one of my goals for the no spend year, which is to be able to afford and fund a basic computer. So I'll give some examples of the red activities. So first of all, in the crafts are making a sofa cover and making a weaving diary. Now I've started the weaving diary already, but I'll show you these things a bit later on in the video. So these are things that I can start to enjoy just now, right away, in the crafts category. Once my arm's a lot better, I'm going to start tackling, I've got a whole big list of sewing repairs that I'd like to do. And it's not as boring as it might sound, because what I can do is I'll enjoy putting some DVDs on in the background or some music and just chill out while I'm doing these different sewing repairs. I've also got here, it says project for the kitchen. So I'll explain about that a bit later on in the video as well. But I definitely need to have two hands to do that. Another big thing is going to be making my holiday scrapbook, which I'm really excited about. So I've got all the bits and pieces ready for that. But again, I want to have both my hands to be able to do that properly. And then a couple of green things in the crafts, different examples. These are things when I've got the computer up and running and bought, which are, I want to start getting back into doing digital art again, because I really miss that. And also to get back into looking through my photos and films. And I want to make a wee holiday album and holiday film from my big holiday that I had from my big 4-0, which was that I went back to Japan, and it was an absolute dream come true. This is something that you'll get to know about me, is that I absolutely am in love with Japan, and it was just so wonderful to get to go back there. I used to live there many years ago, so it was just a dream come true, and I'm so excited to be able to compile a little film with different highlights from the holiday. It was a wonderful experience, and it was the holiday of a lifetime to get to go back there, so I'm very, very grateful for that. So some other examples of activities. Let me show you this for a wee second, and we can have a chat about it. So some examples. So Duolingo is something that I continue to enjoy and can do at the moment, which of course is Japanese language practice. Making wee videos and putting them up on YouTube, and continuing to take photos of my Bella, my beautiful cat, and putting them on her kitty Instagram, which is called The Year I Met My Cat. Also, I have a Frugal Instagram, so I sometimes put pictures on there as well. Also continuing to enjoy music, both making music and listening to music is a big thing. Reading, I've been doing a lot of reading, and I've got a lot of books that I'm really looking forward to reading this year. And then another thing I could start doing and want to start doing is getting into a meditation practice. So at the moment I put meditation music on, or binaural beats. It's great because there are so many free resources on YouTube for these things. But what tends to happen if I do that is I fall asleep. So I'd like to be able to learn how to cultivate a meditation practice where I'm actually staying awake, and it's more mindful and conscious. So rather than lying down, it will involve sitting up. But at the moment, that should maybe be amber, because at the moment with the pain in my arm, it's really almost impossible to focus. So unless I just see if I can focus despite the pain and try it while I'm in recovery, we shall see. And then enjoying my DVDs is another one I actually meant to put that I'm currently doing. So there's all sorts of different DVDs that I'm enjoying catching up on while I'm in this recovery process. And then also when I get to visit my mum, we have made a plan that we're going to have a big nostalgia trip and go through some old DVDs that I found on Vinted at the end of last year. They're called Creature Comforts. I don't know if you've ever seen Creature Comforts. They were made in the 90s, and it's the people who do Wallace and Gromit, Nick Park, and is it Aardman? They're so sweet. They're so adorable and endearing, these wee episodes. Each episode's about 20 minutes long. They're like little mini programs, and it's these different creatures that they interview who all have the sweetest accents and quirks, and it's just very, very cute. So if you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. It's called Creature Comforts. It's great. But there's lots of other DVDs that I'm enjoying watching, or videos on YouTube. Some of them are anime and that kind of thing that I really enjoy. And again, they're in Japanese, so it's good practice for me to become more familiar with certain words and phrases. And then also from a nostalgic point of view, DVDs that are Japanese related things that I love. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. And as I say, it's a completely free activity. So another thing I'm going to start doing in this category of recovery time is planning my planting for the allotment. So I'm not going to be able to dig or anything at the moment, and it's too cold anyway for that. But one of the activities I'm very excited for is going to be just planting some basic things in pots at first. So I'm not going to need to do a high level of digging for that, but that will be more towards the end of February, beginning of March. It's too cold to be starting to plant things at the moment. But in the meantime, I can start planning out what I'm going to be planting and plan what I'm going to grow, and start creating my map for the allotment for the year, for the different zones and what I want to grow where, and if I'm going to do any companion planting and that kind of thing. So stay tuned, watch this space, because there'll be videos related to that over the coming months and through the year as well. But over the coming month or two for my plans for the year. And then once my arm is a lot better, as I say, I can get back into allotmenteering and gardening, planting things, doing some maintenance, and just enjoying being in the space and pootling around and just getting a few bits and pieces done there, just pottering about. Also to start going for walks. I have gone for one walk so far, but because of the ice, it hasn't been safe. 2 seconds, my alarm's going off. That would be my reminder to do my exercises for my arm. So I'll have to catch up later on. So yeah, I have been for one walk, as I say, but because of the ice, I'm a little bit reluctant. The ice is now gone, but today there's been crazy storms again. But doing more walks will be great. Also swimming, Tai Chi, some very basic yoga. I don't really know very much yoga, but I've done quite a lot of Tai Chi in the past, but I'm very rusty. So it'll be great to get more familiar with that again. And just some basic stretches. I'm very interested in exploring somatic movement. I think that's a really great way of releasing trapped emotions in the body. And there are some great meditation tracks on YouTube related to that as well, all free again. So this is going to be another thing that I'm looking forward to exploring. Continuing the decluttering process, and then putting some things online to sell. At this point, I'm not going to be doing that, because I'm not going to be trying to package parcels and taking them to parcel shops and all this kind of thing when I'm in this predicament and in this recovery process. So that's all stuff to look forward to down the line. And then, as you've seen, I'll be doing, well, I've done a little bit of batch cooking, but as you'll see, I'm going to do more batch cooking, and I'm also going to start doing much more active meal planning as well. I'm at the point right now where I'm just trying to eat when I can face it. My appetite's not what it would normally be, and meal planning isn't really a thing at this point, because I'm more in the process of using up my leftovers at the moment. So this will be something that I'll go back to, because I find it a very effective strategy for budgeting, and it can be quite a fulfilling activity in and of itself, knowing that making your contents of the food cupboards and fridge and freezer stretch as far as possible. So it feels very, very fulfilling, I think, to do that, and it really, really helps stay on track, especially for a no-spend year. I've also got a whole host of wee repair projects, so I'll show you a couple of examples of that. But they're repair projects where I'm going to need to have my arm back in action again as well. And then once I have a computer sorted, I'm going to be focusing on doing some writing, organising my different documents, photos, music, all that kind of thing. And I really, really can't wait, because it's just going to make such a difference. Everything's kind of so bitty and scattered at the moment, so it's going to be really great. So I'm going to show you this again for a wee minute or so before we have a look around and I show you some examples of things that I've mentioned here. I really hope that this has been useful and just sparked a couple of ideas, or got you curious about exploring frugality, if this is a new concept for you, or just different ideas that maybe could be useful for you taking on board when you're planning a no-spend month or week or year. If you're doing no-spend January, by the way, I really hope it's going well. I hope that you're finding it's helping you with your budget, and that you're finding that it's an enjoyable challenge. So I'd love to hear if you're doing any no-spend challenge at the moment. I'd really love to hear how it's going. So please let me know in the comments below. And also, if you fancy subscribing, I would appreciate it so much. And there are going to be lots of different videos related to frugality and budgeting coming up, and to do with similar themes related to things like minimalism, gratitude, abundance, all these kinds of different topics and themes. Self-sufficiency, upcycling and repurposing, quite a few different themes and topics that I'll explore. And just in general, having wee frugal chats, doing some cooking, that kind of thing. So without further ado, I will show you some bits and pieces that I'm going to be working on during this no-spend year. So I'm going to show you a few examples now. I should say as well that there'll be some free or very frugal activities that I plan to do with friends as well, and I'll go into more detail about that in a future video. But today's activities are related to solo free activities during my no-spend year in particular, but just in general also as frugal lifestyle kind of ideas. So this is the wee suitcase that I bought in a charity shop in Japan, in which I've got my scrapbooking bits and pieces. So I'm very excited to make the scrapbook at some point this year. And then another example. So I'd said about the sofa cover. So absolutely ages ago on the bartering page, so see a past video to do with bartering where I go into this concept. It's such a brilliant thing. Pardon me. But one of the swaps I did a long time ago was from many, I think it's between 20 and 30 of these granny squares that I just love. And I had some I'd bought in a charity shop way back as well. And I made them into a sofa cover. I sewed the pieces together. But I've decided I'm going to do it again. I took it apart and I'm going to redo it. So my sofa cover will be made from many granny squares, but I'm going to do it using some upcycled scraps of fabric as well to reinforce it, because it just wasn't really strong enough and it didn't really have a great shape. So that will be a project probably for when my arm's a lot better, but I might start doing it with the broken arm as well, because there are some aspects of it I could do with the broken arm. And then another repair once my arm is a lot better is going to involve these guys. So it would come as no surprise probably to hear that I'm an otaku, which is someone who is crazy about things like Godzilla, Japanese kind of pop culture, monstery type things. So it's not the same but connected is that I love Warhammer, and when I was about 18, 19, I painted these. Now that's a wyvern and the red one's a dragon, but that was actually a gift someone painted and made for me. But there we go, that's clearer. So I need to do a couple of repair projects, super gluing these. But I need a steady hand and I need 2 hands to do that. I don't actually know where his wings are at the moment. They've fallen down the back of somewhere. So I'll be searching for those. Just a second. So speaking of being an otaku, now this is a Godzilla. I bought this cheap second hand. He's supposed to actually be riding a skateboard, but I just think it's so cool and I'm going to use it for some kind of craft project at some point. I think he's an 80s guy. And also this is going to be part of what I use for my kitchen projects, which will be in a later video once I have an arm that works properly again. I've managed to buy the other part of what I need within my stock up and needed items list fund. See the no spend year video for details on that sinking fund. So these were 90p from TK Maxx, and I just knew they'd come in handy because they're part of the kind of colour scheme and aesthetic that I love for my kitchen. And now I'm going to show you my weaving diary. Ano tokoro de kore wa watashi no denwa desu. Kitsune udon no mascotto desu. So it's a telephone, an old telephone, and he's the mascot. This is the logo here. He is the mascot for a Kitsune udon company. I think he's 70s or 80s, this mascot. So Kitsune udon is fox udon. So it's a type of noodle broth. It's a really popular dish in Japan. So Kitsune udon, it doesn't actually have real fox meat in it, don't worry. It's Kitsune udon is made using tofu. They're like triangle tofu pieces. It's a kind of sweet tofu in the noodle broth, and it's, oh my god, it's so delicious. It's actually one of my favorite lunches to have in Japan. I love it so much. And I got this little guy, or big guy I should say, when I was in one of the charity shops in Japan, and I saw this guy and I recognized the udon logo, or the writing for udon, and I thought I recognized the logo, and I was chatting and I asked the guy in the shop, the staff in the shop, about it, and yeah, he's the mascot. He's the old mascot from the Kitsune udon advertising campaign. And it's just so funny because it's actually a telephone. So that's, I meant to say that's one of my other plans, because when I do manage to get a computer sorted out, I'm going to finally get my broadband set up and possibly phone line. I think that a lot of the contracts for broadband just by default include a phone line. So if by default the phone line gets included, it takes AA batteries, and he still has his cable in the back. I don't know if he would actually work though. I'm hoping he does work. And if he doesn't work, then maybe the repair cafe, which I've mentioned in a previous video. So, excuse me. So, if you look back, you'll see in a previous video about that. Actually, did I? Or did I just talk about the idea of a repair cafe? I might not have mentioned the repair cafe yet. I think that might be something I'm going to talk about, or I might have talked about it while I was talking about the bartering and stuff. Anyway, at some point I'm planning to go to the repair cafe, and if I find that he doesn't work, I might take him with me and see if they can fix him up. But I think it would just be so funny. Mochi mochi. So we'll see. But anyway, I digress. Back to what I was actually talking about. And this is the weaving diary so far. So what happened was, after I broke my arm, I felt the urge to do a bit of weaving again. And the thing is about weaving, the beauty of it is you don't have to put too much thought in. It's under, over, and then making the tassels is easy. It's a good exercise for, like, gradually I'm able to use my fingers to exercise them a bit. So each week I've just been adding to it very slowly and doing a wee bit more here and there. So that's keeping me out of trouble. Oops, I lost you there. Not sure what happened, sorry. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I really appreciate your time and thank you for tuning in, and I send you best wishes. Bye.